Just ahead on CTV News tonight, the County Council adopts its fiscal year 2025 budget.
It's Budget Adoption Day at County Council. I'm Byron Scott. That story coming up.
Plus, the Maryland Democratic Party is uniting to defeat Larry Hogan in November.
It's a unified front with former opponent David Trone and Maryland's top Democrats coming together to support Senate nominee Angela Alsobrooks in her race to Capitol Hill. I've got the story coming up on CTV News.
And Montgomery County Police Chief Marcus Jones discusses his retirement. All those stories plus sports. CTV News starts now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for May 23rd. I'm Gina Barty.
And I'm Katera Jones. Thanks for joining us. Now that the primaries are over, dozens of leaders from across Maryland are putting their voices together to reach voters ahead of this year's elections.
CTV Mariah Jalad has the story.
Keep Maryland blue. That's the message from the state's Democratic Party Unity event today.
Nominees for the November elections, like U.S. Senate candidate Angela Alsobrooks, got their support from the delegation and Governor Wes Moore. And Alsobrooks' former opponent, David Trone, stood by his promise to back the Democratic nominee.
We must unite behind County Executive Angela Alsobrooks as Maryland's next U.S. Senator. Angela has designed bold endorsement.
The group's mission is clear: re-elect President Joe Biden and take the majority in Congress. For state Democrats, Alsobrooks' race against the Republican former governor Larry Hogan is a top priority.
Well, this election is about the future, and what we know is that many of the values that Marylanders hold dear, including a woman's right to privacy and to choice, are not only issues that Larry Hogan has a record of not supporting, but he's connected to a party with Mitch McConnell, who recruited him into the race, and Donald Trump, who's leading. And we understand that they would be rolling us backwards, not only on those rights and freedoms, but with so many other rights.
Despite Hogan's popularity, Alsobrooks is confident in the Democratic Party's loyalty.
The party already has come together. That's what this morning was about. And you saw the statesmanship that was demonstrated here. Congressman Trone has given me his full support, and we're all together as a party, and we're going to be unified to keep Maryland blue.
The Maryland Dems know there's strength in numbers, and they're not only using that strength to uplift Alsobrooks, but to support Democratic nominees in congressional races across the state.
If we stand united, we are going to win in November, but we have to stand united. You know, it was a challenging primary. It was a hard-fought primary, but we also know what's at stake and what's on the line. We have to make sure that we are preserving the Democratic majority in the Senate, and that means getting Angela Alsobrooks into the Senate. We have to make sure we're getting really good people on board, like future Congressman Olszewski and Elfreth and April Delaney. If we can do that, we're going to actually protect our values, and we're going to push forward a better future for all of us.
And we'll be covering the Senate election and the many congressional races in the run-up to November. From Greenbelt, Mariah Jalad, CTV News.
Well, it was a big day at the County Council today as members vote to adopt the fiscal year 2025 budget.
Byron Scott has our story.
I vote aye.
Prince George's County Council voted today to adopt the $5.4 billion budget package. Council members call it a responsible budget.
It's a good budget, but it's a realistic budget. It's an honest budget. It's a cost containment budget. And honestly, it's a responsible budget.
So let's start by counting.
Education gets the biggest chunk, $2.8 billion, including $50 million for pre-K investments. Public safety, $398 million, including funding for 100 new police officers. And the fire department, $280 million, including funding for 150 new firefighters.
Well, I think that this is a good first step to addressing our mandatory overtime problems. For the last 4 years, our firefighters have suffered underneath of crippling overtime. That includes a number of vacancies in our operational positions. This will help in the long term.
And so with that, I'm voting no.
The vote came down 10-1, with Edwin Burrows the only member to vote against the measure.
Well, there are great inequities in the budget. You heard that out of the new schools that are being built, they're overwhelmingly in the north and only one in the south. In the P3, there are 8 schools, 7 are in the north, only 1's in the south. When you look at the traditional method, all the new schools that are coming, every last one is in the north, as if the people in the south are not paying taxes.
FY 2025 includes cuts to nearly all county departments, thanks to a $171 million budget shortfall.
Due to factors including higher interest rates that have hurt home sales and reduced tax income, the ending of federal pandemic funds, rising inflation, the increasing impacts of climate change, and increasing state requirements for education funding.
And while members say this budget posed stiff challenges, they say future budgets may be more difficult to balance.
The budget this year and over the next few years is going to be the biggest challenge facing our county. I've compared it to managing a family budget, which many of you, I'm sure, can relate to. As parents, we can't ignore one child's needs over another's, and we're responsible for ensuring needs are met before we start looking at the family's wants.
FY 2025 goes into effect July 1st. In Largo, Byron Scott, CTV News.
As many Marylanders hit the road this holiday weekend, Lieutenant Governor Arula Miller wants to encourage motorists to drive responsibly. According to reports, more than 200 people have died on Maryland roads this year. Reports also indicate that roadway crashes resulted in more than 600 deaths last year. While you are driving to your Memorial Day destination, don't forget that the state has about 300 active work zones every day. Remember, beginning June 1st, if you are caught by a speed camera violating the posted work zone speed, you will be fined $80.
This week, County Police partnered with Maryland State Police to enforce traffic on Route 210. Police say that they conducted 169 stops and issued over 80 citations to speeding and aggressive drivers on Indian Head Highway. Meantime, with the Memorial Day weekend coming up, Prince George's Police Department offers these tips for you to stay safe. Watch your speed and maintain a safe distance between other drivers. Don't text and drive, and consider placing your phone on driving mode or do not disturb to avoid distractions. Also, avoid being behind the wheel if you are impaired. Lastly, if you're heading out of town, they recommend leaving a light on and ask a neighbor to report any suspicious activity.
Prince George's County Executive Angela Alsobrooks announced today that the county has maintained its AAA bond rating and stable economic outlook from financial rating agency Fitch. AAA is the highest rating given. Fitch, one of the 3 financial rating agencies, provides credit ratings, commentary, and research. Since the start of the Alsobrooks administration in 2018, the county has received a AAA rating from each of the rating agencies every year. The county has also met with other 2 rating agencies, Moody's Ratings and Standard & Poor's, and is awaiting their responses.
Attorney General Anthony Brown has joined the federal antitrust lawsuit against entertainment company Live Nation, along with the U.S. Department of Justice and a bipartisan coalition of 30. The suit alleges that Live Nation, which owns Ticketmaster, illegally monopolized the live entertainment industry. Live Nation is the exclusive ticketer to nearly all large concert venues in the country. Attorney General Brown stated in a press release, when the world's largest live entertainment company illegally dominates ticket sales, artist management, promotion, and venue choices, fans are the ones who hurt the most.
A Montgomery County substitute teacher files a federal lawsuit this week. According to reports, Kimberly Polk alleges that the Montgomery County School District, along with the Montgomery County School Board, discriminated against her because of her religion. Polk also alleges that MCPS and the school board violated her free speech by mandating that she follow the school district's student gender identity guidelines. Reports indicate that Polk was denied a recommendation request that would have exempted her from following the district's student gender identity rules.
And you're watching CTV News. Coming up,
the University of Maryland School of Business receives a national honor. We'll have that story and more after the break.
I was a quarterback at Hardaway High School. College first round draft pick, on and off the field. We were taught to not show any signs of weakness. During the football season, I would stop eating. But I didn't know I was depressed. I thought that something was wrong with me. For 20 plus years was physical. We didn't have any education behind what mental health was. I started to learn it starts here first. If this is together, I'll be better as a father, as a man, and as a husband. Put the importance on your mental health. I'm not scared to talk about it anymore. The first tool is therapy. The second one is positive self-talk. And then journaling, putting your thoughts on paper. We have to redefine what being a strong man is and heal, love your mind.
I tell my son, I love you every single day. I love you. Now, my dad has never said that to me. Not because he doesn't love me, but because culturally it wasn't comfortable for him. Now that he's a grandfather, he says, I love you to my son every time he sees him. My advice to all the fathers out there, forget the cultural restrictions. They grow up way too fast for you to waste even a single precious moment.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
A new data center is coming to Prince George's County. TPC Data Center is planning to build a 20-megawatt center in Laurel close to the Burtonsville substation. Data centers store and manage massive amounts of data that organizations rely on for day-to-day operations. This particular facility will span 150,000 square feet across 2 floors.
We could be having the heaviest hurricane season in history, according to forecasters at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Warmer than average ocean temperatures in the Atlantic could lead to a range of 17 to 25 storms and 4 to 7 major hurricanes. Those living along the coast or here in the mid-Atlantic should be prepared to protect themselves and their property from remnants of storms that might pass over. Stay aware of any tropical storm, hurricane watches, warnings, and make plans to evacuate or ride out the storm safely.
Well, a Maryland TikTok star is among 8 content creators who have filed a lawsuit against the federal government, arguing that a new law forces the sale and ban of the app violates their First Amendment rights. Talayla Cadet of Capitol Heights joined TikTok in March 2020, but it wasn't until 2021 when she began creating and posting content on the platform. Cadet has nearly 130,000 followers. Her content includes books, Black-owned businesses, and other DMV-related topics. Cadet says that a potential ban would have widespread negative implications.
Potential ban will essentially decimate our ability to connect with our communities, our ability to monetize for a lot of creators. This is part or all of their entire livelihoods, so affecting their ability to provide for themselves, to provide for their families, and to contribute to their respective communities and where they live. So yeah, there is a grave impact that we would all feel if there was an actual ban. And I think we are doing everything in our power to share our stories, to share how TikTok has positively impacted ourselves and our communities to stop this ban from happening.
The law known as the Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act was signed by President Biden in April. Well, exciting news coming out of the University of Maryland as they receive a national honor. The U.S. Department of Commerce has awarded a 2024 President's E Award for Export Service to the Center for Global Business at the university's Smith School of Business. The center's Maryland Business Adapts program, support to local exporters during the COVID-19 pandemic, was an integral part to them receiving the award. It is the highest recognition a U.S. entity can receive for making a significant contribution to the expansion of U.S. exports.
A new study shows that blue crab population in the Chesapeake Bay is steady. According to reports, state officials say there are about 317 million blue crabs in the bay. Officials say the number is fifth straight year that the blue crab count is below the record count, which is 400 million crabs. The Chesapeake Bay had about 323 million blue crabs last year. That's about a 2% decline from 2023.
The last person sitting on death row in Maryland has been given a reprieve of sorts. This after the feds signal they will no longer pursue the death penalty against him. 41-year-old Kenneth Lightly was 23 years old when he was sentenced to die in 2006 for his role in the 2002 kidnapping and murder of a D.C. police lieutenant's son. Lightly of Hillcrest Heights is scheduled to be resentenced in June because a judge threw out his death sentence last year. His two co-defendants received life behind bars.
After more than 3 decades working in law enforcement, Montgomery's police chief is set to retire this summer. Marcus Jones, the current police chief at Montgomery County Police, will retire on July 1st. Jones, who has been with the force since 1985, became the department's 17th police chief back in 2019. During his tenure, he led the force through COVID-19, police reform efforts, and the January 6th insurrection, where many of his officers were hurt.
It's been an honor for me to serve as the 17th police chief of Montgomery County. It's been truly an honor to lead the men and women of this great organization in this phenomenal county. Over the past 5 years, we have significantly had some challenges, but I have the utmost amount of respect for the men and women who battled with us, with me, as we overcame many obstacles along the way.
County Executive Mark Elridge has nominated Mark Yamada to become the next police chief.
Congratulations to both of them.
Absolutely. And after the break, Simon Buggs has the Wednesday Sports page.
And he's speaking to an NFL vet about the Commanders and more.
What's up, sports fans? Coming up soon, NFL veteran Jonathan Allen gives his thoughts on this new-look Commanders team, and the Baltimore Orioles make some roster changes. Don't go anywhere.
Vision loss is not something that you feel until it happens.
Most people lose their vision from diseases like macular degeneration and glaucoma, not at birth.
With macular degeneration, you lose your central vision.
You have a blind spot right in the center of your face, so I can't actually see your face.
So even that little circle in which I could see became a big blur.
I was 65 when I first was diagnosed with glaucoma.
There were no symptoms. I had no headaches.
3 million Americans have glaucoma, and half don't even know it.
11 million people in the United States have macular degeneration.
You lose mobility, independence, changes your entire life.
So many eye disorders can be treated if caught early.
My husband tells me that I have beautiful brown eyes, and I don't want to lose that.
Make a plan today to get your eyes checked.
Visit brightfocus.org to learn more.
Diversity is in our nature. It is in nature, too. Biodiversity. It connects us and sustains us. But nature's biodiversity is at risk more than ever before, and the future of all life is in our hands. So what will you do? Love it or lose it?
It is so hot out today, but I'm about to get this hike in, and I just had to show you the view.
Beautiful.
Yo, you should come out here. We came outside to unwind.
Oh, wow.
What's the laptop? Transmission.
We outside, come find us.
Okay, everyone, get pumped because it's time for your Thursday Sports Page. Beginning with some NFL news, the Commanders have been no stranger to losing, as it has been a struggle to become a contender in the NFC. Washington hasn't won double-digit games since the 2012 season and have missed the playoffs 3 years in a row. But hopefully that will change this season, as new hirings have been made in the front office, on the coaching staff, and with players as well. The team recently began OTAs, and one of the veterans on the team and defensive lineman Jonathan Allen does believe this year's Commander squad is a more motivated one than in years past.
The thing I love most about what we got going on right now is everybody's determined and everyone's focused, and how do I say this? Everybody has something to prove, and we're all pushing towards the same direction, you know? And I think that's going to be so great for us. Everybody has the same motive, the same motivation. We're all chasing after the same goal, and we're all pushing each other to get there. So, you know, it has really been exciting being here.
One player that is motivated to perform well this season is rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels out of LSU. Head coach Dan Quinn spoke recently about Daniels, and he touched on how good he's looked during OTAs, as well as how much of a hard worker he is.
It's a big passing camp, so for the quarterbacks, they're getting some really good looks. You know, there's a number of coverages now that have gone in, you know, from the first day of where it was maybe just 3 deep and man-to-man. So to see that type of progress from he and from the other quarterbacks, I think that's good. In the weeks ahead, we'll add team things to it and blitzes and, you know, a pocket and that kind of stuff. But I think what jumps not only off the tape here, what you guys don't see in the meeting room is just the competitive nature and the learning and the command that he has already. And so that's something that speaks to his work ethic.
Now for some Major League news, the Baltimore Orioles have decided to shake things up. The Birds have agreed to trade pitcher Mike Baumann and catcher Michael Perez to the Seattle Mariners for catcher Blake Hunt. For the Mariners minor league affiliate this season, the Tacoma Rainiers, Hunt has recorded a .293 batting average, a .372 on-base percentage, and a .533 slugging percentage. He's also had 4 doubles, 1 triple, and 15 runs scored. Sticking with Orioles news, the Birds will be back in action tonight as they'll begin their series against the Chicago White Sox at 7:40. And wrapping up sports, the Washington Mystics will take the court tonight and try and get their first win of the season. Washington will face off against the Phoenix Mercury on the road at 10 o'clock. And that wraps up your Thursday Sports Page. Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
Let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. We're looking at showers and thunderstorms on and off through Monday. So if you're traveling this holiday weekend, please be careful. Tomorrow we'll see a high of 85, and those showers fall in the morning.
Saturday, expect thunderstorms with a high of 83 and a low of 65. Sunday is going to be nice and mostly sunny with a high of 84, but showers are still expected sometime after 2 p.m. And now let's get a quick look at our community calendar. This Saturday, the Bowie Branch Library is hosting a book signing for author Tanika Adams and her new book, Next Level Prep, a college and career readiness journal.
If you or anyone you know is starting to prepare for life beyond high school and is in need of a motivational action plan, then this book is for you. The signing is from 2:15 to 3:35. For more information, call or text 301-785-8377.
And that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
CTV News.
Angela Alston-Brooks did it. She defeated fellow Democrat David Trone.
The Associated Press has called the U.S. Senate Democratic primary against David Trone.
It's been 55 days since the Dolly container ship crashed into what was the key bridge behind me here.
The students are calling on the university to support a ceasefire in Gaza.
CTV News, bringing you news that matters to you.
Believe me, you don't want to miss this.